Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Marvel Select Beast figure from Diamond Select, and let's get right into it, starting with the packaging. It's the same packaging the Marvel Select has been using for probably about 15 years or something like that. It's the exact same thing. It's big, it's bulky, it's not collector friendly, but you can see the figure pretty good here in the front, and then along the side it says Marvel's Beast, then you have an X logo at the bottom. On the side you have some pretty cool looking Beast artwork, and then on the back you get a description of the character, and then a couple shots of the figure, and then a couple shots of some other X-Men figures that Marvel Select has released in the past. And right after a brief description of the figure, it gives credit to the sculptor, and that would be John St. John, and I always like when they do that. It's awesome that they give them credit right on the packaging. So I do wish that they came out with some kind of collector friendly packaging, because for me, I just kind of open this, I just rip the figure out of this packaging and then I just toss it. So it is what it is, but if you'd like to keep the figure in the packaging, it does look pretty cool. And here's Beast right out of the packaging, and let's take a look at the sculpt. I think overall, John St. John did a really nice job on the sculpt, but I do believe that he's a little bit too lanky. I do wish that he was shorter and a little bit more thick. He feels a little bit lanky for Beast, but he's not horrible or anything. And also, if you crunch him down a little bit, which he does have a nice ab crunch, so that's a plus, but if you crunch him down and get his head facing forward and his legs bent, then he kind of looks more how he should, and maybe that was the intention, you know. So I think you could definitely get your ideal Beast out of this figure here. So I think that looks nice right there, right? He doesn't look as lanky, he looks hunched over, he doesn't look too tall. And yeah, that's really good. But let's take a closer look here. The details on him, the sculpted details are really nice. There's details everywhere. It's really no surprise because John St. John has a line of action figures out there called Creature Replica, and it's based on urban legends and Sasquatches and stuff like that. So he's no stranger to this type of sculpt, and I think he did a really nice job here. I love all the details on him. The fur looks really nice. And this is one of those times where I really don't mind these hips. As far as the look anyways, it looks fine right here on Beast. It doesn't look awkward at all because he's big enough to kind of make them look okay. They don't look as good on skinny figures, but I think they look okay on Beast. They aren't as like posable as I would like, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But there's a lot of nice shading. And it's blue, but then there's like a black paint wash, and it's pretty subtle on this Beast. I saw another one in the store, and the black was a lot heavier. And I preferred it to be a little bit more light and not so dark, but it does look cool. I love all the different blues and stuff. Check it out. And he looks nice. Overall, the paint's good. I do have a little bit of yellow here on the inside of his leg, as you could see. But aside from that, there's no real huge paint flaws. One big gripe I have with the sculpt is the choice in the head. The head sculpt is really good and it was executed really well, but I just don't like the choice of the expression and just the overall style. I think that this looks a little too ape-ish for me. I know that sometimes Beast looks like that, and that's okay, so I'm not really going to fault them for it because it does look good, but I don't think I'm alone in saying that this isn't the ideal facial expression for Beast. I do wish there was another head, like maybe a relaxed face with some glasses or something. I think that would have been really cool. And yeah, like I said, it's not like this face is bad, but it's just, I'm not sure if I agree with the stylistic choice. But the sculpt work is very good. I like the ears, check that out, they're pointy. But yeah, it just looks a little too ape-ish. And I'm not saying I would have preferred straight up cat Beast like from the new X-Men or anything like that, but I would have liked a Beast inspired by, like, you know, the 90s or the animated series or whatever. I'm just not sure if I want to be stuck with a super aggressive Beast. I think what I'm going to try to do is hunt down one of those Toy Biz X-Men classic Beast figures that had that head that I'm trying to describe, and trying to see if it could go on this body. I don't have one of those handy, so I'm not really sure, but I'm sure we could find a way to swap out the head, and I think that would look awesome. So hopefully I can find one of those soon. And let's just take another really quick look at all the details on him. Check out all that sculpted fur. That looks really great. And then check out the hands. The nails are a different color. You got some fur on the top of the hands. Again, some more fur on the legs. All over the body there's fur. Again, you got the different colored toenails. And there's just a lot of different blues and different kind of colors in there. It looks really good. And Hank here comes with a couple different accessories. He has two sets of hands. The first pair is a set of open hands, and the second pair is a set of gripping hands that can be used to grip onto the bar that comes with the Danger Room backdrop. And as far as the Danger Room diorama backdrop thing, it's okay, but it's a little bit basic, and it's really flimsy. It comes in pieces. You have the two walls, the floor, and then the bars that hook into the walls there. And like I said, it's alright. It looks decent enough, and you can get Beast to hang off the bar here, but it takes a little bit of work to get him on there. And as you can see, the bar wants to pop out because Beast is a little bit heavy. Not crazy heavy, but a little bit too heavy for the diorama here. So I mean, I'm sure someone could figure out a cooler way to put him in there, but he's just a little bit big to be squeezed into this little thing. And yeah, there you go. But one thing that's kind of cool about these diorama pieces is that Marvel Select has been putting out X-Men figures for a couple years now, and several of them have come with this Danger Room piece. I believe this one came with Gambit, so that's kind of cool that they've kept that going for so long, and it does look kind of cool together like that. It'd probably be cool to display the figures in there if you could fit them, but I'm sure you can't get too many Marvel Select figures in there. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool that they included it, but I'm just not a huge fan of it. And now for some size comparisons, but this time around I'm going to do things a little bit different. First off, I'm going to show Beast standing up next to a couple other figures like I usually do, and then I'm going to show Beast in a crouched, hunched over type of pose, because I feel that that's most likely how you're going to pose Beast. You're probably not going to have him standing up next to all your other X-Men figures, so I don't really think it's fair to judge him based on how tall he stands. I want to make sure to give you a good look at how he looks in the most likely situation, you know, and I really think that people are going to have him hunched over most of the time, so I just want to give a fair comparison of how he looks like that. So let's get into it, starting with the Marvel Select Gambit and the Marvel Select Colossus. And if you look at Beast here, I would say that he looks a little bit too tall, but here he is in a crunched over kind of crouching pose, and I think that works kind of good. At first it really didn't seem like it would work out, but I think you could get him in the pose that makes you happy when you compare him to your other Marvel Select X-Men figures, so check that out there. And here's Hank next to the Marvel Legends Warlock Wave Colossus and Marvel Legends Warlock Wave Jim Lee Cyclops, and as you could see, he towers over both of them, and that would not really work. Even when you have him crouched down, I think he's a little bit too big to fit in with some of your Marvel Legends figures. And for some further proof of that, here he is next to the Marvel Legends Jim Lee Wolverine and the Marvel Legends Deadpool from the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure wave. And then now here we have Beast with the Marvel Select Magneto and the Marvel Select Movie Wolverine figure. And here he is next to the Toy Biz X-Men Classics Beast and the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Series 4 Beast. And I was thinking about doing a more in-depth comparison video with that Marvel Legends Beast. Let me know if you'd be interested in seeing that, and if I get enough people saying that they would like that, I'll go ahead and do that in the next couple of days. And just one more quick one, here's Beast alongside the Mezco Tiger Stripe Wolverine. And again, I think it works out okay when he's crunched over. So, I don't know, it was really tough to judge the scale on Beast because, I mean, if you stand him up straight, of course he's too tall, but no one's going to pose him standing up straight. So I really wanted to give people a more realistic look on how he would look in your collection. So hopefully him crouching over was helpful. And now finally, let's take a look at the articulation. And that's one department where Marvel Select is really hit or miss. Sometimes the posability on their figures is really horrible, and sometimes it's pretty good. For the most part, it's usually disappointing because there'll be articulation points that you could see that don't work, and it's always a bummer when you see like an ab crunch that looks like the cut's there and it doesn't work. And I'm very happy to say that that's not the case with Beast. For the most part, his articulation works really good. So let's get into it here. His head is able to move side to side, and it sits up a little bit, so it does have a nice amount of tilt to it. And he's able to look up to about there. Doesn't quite look straight up, but it looks up enough. And same thing going down. He doesn't quite look all the way down. There's a little gap right where his chin is at. Doesn't quite go into his chest, but that's okay. And then for the torso, like I mentioned before, they did a really nice job with it. Check it out. How awesome is that? I was really nervous about the torso because I saw the joint there, but they've tricked me before where we saw the joint and it just didn't work. So I'm really happy to see that it works on Beast, and check it out. It works really good. So awesome work, Diamond Select, on making sure this torso joint works. I'm sure if the torso joint was no good, people would have gone crazy. So I'm very happy to see that it worked out really good. And then you could also have the twist there, but the ab crunch is the star of the show. So I mean, it's not like as good as like a Figure Arts or even maybe like a Marvel Legends, but it's really good for a Marvel Select. And then of course at the waist he has a swivel, but it's very tight. But you have swivel at the mid-torso anyway, so that's okay. And then for his arms, they're on ball-jointed shoulders, so they do go all the way around, but it's a little tight trying to bring them up to the side. You could maybe heat it up a little bit and get it to go a little bit more, but just right out of the packaging, it only goes to about there. And then he has the upper bicep swivel, single-jointed elbows, but they're okay. I think they bend 90 degrees, so I'm okay with that. And then you have a swivel at the wrist, and then a hinge at the wrist. And then as I mentioned before, he has these hips that a lot of people don't like, but I think they work okay on Beast. And his legs are able to go out to the side Can't quite do the splits, but it's okay. Can't really go back at all. And it could only go forward to about there. So his hips are a little bit limited, but they aren't horrible or anything. They are okay. I do wish that the leg was able to go up a little bit more. I might shave this down a little bit to try to get a little more movement out of there. But as it is, it's decent. And then you have the upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees. And then his foot could go to about there. It comes up to about there. And then he has rocking ankles. And there is no lower leg swivel or swivel at the foot. I do wish that was there, but it's okay. You know, it's not absolutely necessary. It just makes it a little bit easier to get him to stand up. But yeah, anyways, I'm really happy with the articulation on Beast. When I get a Marvel Select figure, I don't ever expect like an over-articulated figure. I just want a decent articulation setup, a good sculpt, and with Beast, I think that's what we got. Some of the articulation could have been a little bit better, especially in the hips, but for the most part, I think you could get what you need out of this figure as far as poses for Mr. McCoy here. So overall, I'm really happy with this figure. I think that Diamond Select did a really nice job with it. I think that Jean St. John did a really good job with the sculpt. I will admit that I'm not a huge fan of the face sculpt. I do wish that they went with a different facial expression. I think they did a good job at what they were going for, but I just think they should have went another route with it. And another gripe I have with the sculpt is I do wish that he was a little bit thicker and not so lanky. He doesn't look lanky when you have him in a posed position, but just standing up straight, he comes off as a little lanky. So I do wish he was a little bit thicker, but he doesn't look bad at all. I think that he looks really good. I love all the details. I like the different shades of blue. I love all the sculpted fur on him. And yeah, just overall, he's a really good figure. I'm very happy about the articulation. As I mentioned, they're really hit or miss when it comes to that. And I'm glad to say that Beast is a hit. You know, it's not like the most articulation ever. It's not going to blow your mind or anything, but I think it's going to allow you to do what you want to do with your Beast figure. So that's all really that you could ask for when it comes to a Marvel Select figure. So I think they did a good job there. I do appreciate the accessories that he came with. And yeah, and other than those couple things I mentioned, I really don't have any gripes with it, especially for 25 bucks. I mean, it's an amazing figure for 25 bucks. You could buy it at a comic book store. Don't really have to worry about scalpers or none of that crazy stuff. Just go into the comic book store, walk out with an awesome Beast figure that you didn't pay like an arm and a leg for. He's not perfect, but he's a really good figure. I'm happy with it. And yeah, I think that's it. So thank you very much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And thank you very much. Peace.